Hello and welcome to the Actual Tech Media EcoCast. My name is Jess and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information that I want to cover with you. All right, let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. So if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Now, keep in mind that if you do have any technical issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on today, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's EcoCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over a live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. Now, if we don't get to your question during the live webinar today, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us will be following up after we wrap. All right, next up, there's going to be lots of cool aha moments on the EcoCast today. And if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's EcoCast will be automatically added to your post. All right, our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some awesome resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection, solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. Now, if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout today's EcoCast. I'm going to tell you a bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be here live in attendance at the EcoCast in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all of you after we wrap. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, if you don't know what those full T's and C's are, that's fine. We've got the full thing for you. Just head on over to that handouts tab, click in, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we actually have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. So in today's EcoCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all questions asked after we wrap the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and you would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we'll get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the EcoCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going, so let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and on LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content and resources right after we wrap the EcoCast today, be sure to subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and, hey, grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or a coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in your handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar. And both you and your coworker or friend could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend because, it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your handouts tab, fill out a quick application, and the Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should probably be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you get to choose to join in, like surveys, test runs, new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you'll learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker on your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and as I said, they are completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in that handouts tab as well. All right, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get going.
Hello and welcome, folks. It is time to dive in on today's topic, solutions and tools that use AI to get more from your existing data. It is no surprise to any of you out there that data volumes have increased exponentially in the past 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, couple of years, and it keeps growing at an exponential rate. Every organization is sitting on piles of data. But the question is, how is that data being sorted, analyzed, and leveraged by organizations? With the big advancements in generative AI in the past couple of years, we are at an exciting place in the industry. Never before have we been able to deploy AI to analyze and repurpose our data and get the results we are getting now. Increased user and client experiences, better targeted sales and marketing campaigns, and decision making based on way more complete and informed data sets are only the tip of the iceberg of what benefits we're seeing already with Gen AI and how that's being used on our in-house data. Likely, that's why you're here. You want to make better use of your data and start this process or jumpstart it into the future. And luckily, today we have three fantastic teams to lead the charge on this conversation and let us know how they're leveraging AI to make better use of their data. We've got Informatica, Couchbase, and Rubrik in the house. I'm sure you are all ready and pumped up to get started. So how about we go through a few last bits of info and then get our speakers on out here with us. My name is Mackenzie Puddesy, and I am a moderator here at Actual Tech Media. My friends and fellow moderators, Jess Steinbach, Scott Becker, and Keith Ward are also here with us on live chat today. If it's your first EcoCast with me, it is great to meet you, and I want to thank you for being here. Just to make sure you are all awake and alive out there, why don't you find the questions tab in your console, and let's get started by saying hi, hello, bonjour, hola, aloha, or whatever greeting you'd like to leave today and send a wave out to the community here with you as well. Now, I've got something more for you today than just incredibly valuable information. I've also got some prizes. Today on the EcoCast, you could win one of three $300 Amazon gift cards that will be given away to three lucky winners who are here, present, and live with us at today's EcoCast. And as mentioned in the housekeeping chat this morning, you can find the full T's and C's linked in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. And with that last little thing, I believe we are ready to rock. So our keynote speaker here today, I'm excited to introduce the incredible Joey D'Antoni, who's the principal cloud architect and author that we all love to check in with. He'll be setting the stage for today's discussion. And so with that, Joey, I'm going to kick things over to you. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joey D'Antoni, Principal Cloud Architect, and today I'm excited to talk about how AI can help organizations get more value from their existing data. A lot of what you hear about AI is about how tech giants are using it, very large companies, but it's a game-changing technology that's accessible to all companies of all sizes, and you can turn data that you already have into insights that drive smart decisions and new opportunities. Frequently, organizations collect vast amounts of data. This data can be in the form of logs from your website, user information from maybe a mobile app that your company has, or just internal data from various systems like ERP systems, etc. But without having automated ways to extract insight from that data, it can be very slow and costly. We've all been involved with business intelligence or data analytics projects where the data takes forever to get transformed into an approach where it can be read. And what AI does is allows us to analyze that data faster and uncover patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. We call this predictive analytics. And by leveraging some of these technologies in AI, businesses can predict trends, automate decision-making, and gain deeper understanding of their operations. And all this is using data that they already have within their organization, whether it be in a data lake or in a data warehouse or clouds. There are a lot of tools you can take advantage of in that space, and let's talk to a couple of those. There are several AI-powered tools that you can use to help you get more out of your data, and some of these may already be in your organization. Business intelligence tools like Microsoft Power BI, Click, and Tableau all now have AI features that provide dynamic insight and predictive analytics based on your historical trends. These predictive analytics tools can forecast trends, help you make proactive decisions, and they're easy to use. They're just implemented in the tools, and they're kind of based on your history and a look at your data. You can implement these things without even having data scientists on your team. Beyond that, there are some natural language processing tools from Microsoft and Google that can help you analyze unstructured text like customer feedback or support or chat logs from your website to help you better understand your customer feedback. And you can look at that for sentiment and keywords. And let's talk a little bit more about some ways you can use that technology. To see how some of these tools work in real life, let's look at a few examples. The first we might want to look at is customer segmentation. Using AI powered customer segmentation can help you create targeted marketing campaigns, identifying specific areas of your customer base that you want to target for different types of marketing campaigns. You can also, from an operational perspective, not just marketing, think about AI to forecast when equipment will need repairs, which can reduce downtime. Some examples of this might be monitoring. For example, a common example is monitoring engine temperature in a car or a plane over time and looking for increased numbers of outliers that cause you to identify when that maintenance cycle should happen. This can both increase reliability and potentially reduce the cost of maintenance by optimizing the number of maintenance activities that you perform. Finally, sentiment analysis. And this is a pretty common technique in the age of social media, but sentiment analysis over text can help companies understand their employees' emotions, whether it be from reviews on a website or an app or social media comments, so that the company can respond more effectively and understand the position from where their customers are coming from. So that can be very helpful in terms of reacting quickly to a problem with a rollout or something like that. So, how to start using these AI tools? It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't have to go out and invest hundreds of millions of dollars in GPU hardware. You want to begin with the data that you already have, like sales records, customer feedbacks, or operational metrics. One of the things I always like to tell people, though, is that this is all about the data. It's really important to understand your data before you submit it to an AI engine, and that you're confident in the data quality. So you know that you're not just training your AI model on kind of garbage data. So the whole garbage in, garbage out concept applies here as well. But what you want to do is choose a tool that aligns with your specific goals and pilot on a small project, like identifying customer segments or forecasting demand for some specific products in the next quarter. From there, as you see results and you're happy with your data feedback that you're getting, you can expand that AI project to be larger and larger. Don't try to do everything all at once, especially when you don't maybe have the hardware or software, or more importantly, the developer capacity to really build out some complex tooling. To wrap up, artificial intelligence can help turn your existing data into valuable insights. Lots of organizations struggle with just getting the basics around business intelligence data or data analytics or data engineering, as we call it in different terms, times, etc. But it can be really helpful to take advantage of what's built into your tool. So if you have a BI tool that can do predictive analytics like Click or Power BI, it can help you get started taking advantage of some of those AI features that are very simple. You can also look at native language processing tools to get going. And all these tools that we're mentioning with the BI tools and predictive analytics are all pretty accessible. You don't have to have a whole giant spend or project to buy them. They might be in the tools you already have. Remember that starting small with a single project can help you build momentum for AI in your organization. Thank you and have a good day.
Alrighty, thank you so much. That was great. Honestly, I really like that idea of taking project at a time or one specific segment at a time. I know we all are very excited about AI. We don't want to miss out on this opportunity. We want to stay ahead of the curve if we can. But I do think it is wise to take it step by step, project by project, team by team, and roll this out in ways that we really have the data, the know-how, and the bandwidth to do so. Thank you, Joey. That was great. I liked somebody's question there, Stephen. What's the funniest hallucination you've seen AI make? I think that is a great way to open this up. So if anyone has some hallucinations they want to throw in the chat, I would love to see what those are. We also have a poll up. You've probably seen it already, but what's your time frame for adding new or updating existing IT solutions at your company? Here, we're just quickly getting a sense of where you're at. Are you looking to make some updates in the next 6 months? This is pretty urgent to you. Is this kind of a 6 to 12 month project you're looking at implementing? Is this more of a 1 to 2 year timeline? You're thinking quite far into the future, or maybe you're not sure. You're still here gathering information, getting a sense of what's really on the market, what's out there, what's being built. And then once you've got all that data, just like today's topic, then you can take that data and implement it as you need. All right, I'm going to leave that poll up for maybe 3 to 5 more seconds, and then we're going to have our first team on here presenting to us today. First here up on the docket is Informatica, and we have Peter Manta, who is the AI and data strategy leader over at Informatica, here with us today. Super excited for this. Peter, I'm always excited to hear what you've got to say and what you've been up to. So why don't you take it away and we'll go from there.
Hi, my name is Peter Manta. I'm Informatica's global leader for AI strategy. Thank you for joining our EcoCast. Over the next 20-25 minutes, I'd like to talk a little bit through this interplay between data management and artificial intelligence. Obviously, AI is having a moment. It's a bit of a thing lately. So let's talk about how data management can affect AI, particularly around tools and maximizing the value of data in AI applications. So starting off, we see this as two sides of the same coin. First, AI improves data management. We can use AI practices to improve our data management practices, bringing automation and intelligence into data management. And I'll talk through this and show you what it looks like here in a second or two. And then when we do a better job with data management, so we improve our data management practices, that means when we deploy AI use cases and we're looking to improve our AI outcomes, well, better data management results in better AI outcomes. So we're looking first at AI for data management, then the flip side of that coin, data management for AI. And we'll go through both of these here today. We'll start out with AI improving data management. So the first thing is back in 2017, we wanted to look at leveraging AI for data management. And we said, okay, what guiding principles do we have? What sort of things do we think we can bring to our clients to make the world a little bit easier for them when it comes to applying automation and intelligence to data management? So along the bottom here, these are our guiding principles. First, this idea of data for everybody. Right? Everybody should be data-driven. So as we move to our information economy, where people are making decisions based on data, and those pockets of people aren't just business analysts or data analysts, everyone in the organization is becoming more data-driven. We want to make sure we can help enable that. So this concept of data literacy, and at the top of the screen, you can see I've got guiding principles for organizational data literacy. And I think that's really the theme that covers all of this. We want to allow people to become more data literate. The second pillar here is creating usable data. As we see more people moving to decentralized data architectures, data mesh and things like that, creating data products, what happens is there's friction in between the data producers and data consumers. So we think we can use AI to help reduce that friction or eliminate that friction completely, such that data producers can produce data. They're the ones who are most familiar with the data that they're producing, so they've got the most curation to it, they've got the highest quality, et cetera, and then reduce the friction for consumers who want to use that data. And then finally, the third pillar is driving productivity. How can we make people get to their data-driven decisions better, faster, cheaper, more accurately, et cetera? So those are our key pillars in developing this idea of AI for data management. And so we built something called Claire. So we believe this AI-driven approach enables a modern data management solution. And we built this cloud-native AI-augmented solution that relies on petabytes of active metadata. And again, we call it Claire. Claire is our AI engine that was designed to provide automation and insight across data management. So for example, and I'm not going to go through all these, auto curation. right? We can save hours of manual labor by automatically creating and assigning data classifications, doing things like understanding a technical metadata, a technical column someplace actually means something in the business world. ACT_NO might be an account number. And how do we define an account number in a business glossary? And certainly things much less kind of obvious in that one. Dates are good examples. If I've got a column full of dates, it's easy to identify the pattern and say these are dates. What's harder to do is say, well, that's a birth date or it's a transaction date, right? Understand the business context of the data itself and do that in an automated fashion. Inferring relationships is another one I'll pick on here as well. Inferred relationships, inferred data lineage, allowing us to see how data is associated across the enterprise, and then through expanding data sources and data targets, such that I might be looking at a report someplace and something looks a little off to me. And I can say, well, how did we get to the data I'm looking at in this report? Where did we go wrong, perhaps? And can I trace that back through lineage and kind of uncover what happened, even if the data is not flowing through the traditional data management or ETL kind of process? Can we infer relationships between the data that something happened so we can help understand if things are correct or perhaps not correct? Sourcing suggestions to suggest data appropriate to addressing business challenges. We can go on with these for quite some time, but in the interest of time, I'll move on. So we launched this idea we branded Claire, as I mentioned, back in 2017. The premise is automation and intelligence in data management will benefit our clients. And AI is really embedded across our solution and our platform, and it leverages machine learning on metadata to drive intelligence and productivity. At the moment, we've got 50 some petabytes of active metadata that we're using to train our models. So our clients are gaining benefit of all that active metadata for the insights and the recommendations and the automation in their data management, in the data management practices. Here it says 40 petabytes of metadata, but this slide's a little bit old. We're 50 and growing at this point. Now, when you hear Claire, there's really two sides to it. First, on the left is what we call Claire Copilot. So this is AI-powered metadata intelligence and automation, focusing on things like you see here: data domain inference, automated data quality, natural language processing, et cetera. The other side of the house is Claire GPT, and this is our natural language interface to data. So I mentioned at the beginning, data literacy is kind of one of our guiding principle for all of this, and there's really two approaches to data literacy. One is to say, well, make our tools as easy as possible to use, and we still train people on using tools, so bring people to the data. The other is to say, let's bring data to the people, right? So let's make it as easy as possible for people to become data-driven and interact with the data estate. And there's no easier way to do that than through natural language. So I'll give you a quick look at that right now, in fact, and let's do a quick demonstration of Claire GPT. So this is Claire GPT. Again, it's just a natural language interface. You can see it's got a history on the left. It's got some suggestions in the center. You're probably familiar with something like this from working with ChatGPT or Google Gemini. And I might ask a business question. Again, I don't have to be a technical person to do this. I might say, show me data sets relevant for customer. First, customer segmentation analysis. So I might be interested in I might be a data analyst or business analyst, and I might be interested in doing some customer segmentation analysis. And I say, what data sets would be relevant for that? And the normal process is to start going and looking through a data catalog or business glossary and saying, here, what am I looking for? What data assets do we have? Which ones might be relevant to customer segmentation? Here with Claire GPT, we've gone and we've indexed the data estate, and we can just ask our question and it comes back and it says, well, customer segmentation, that's an important one. And we've got different data sets relevant to this customer segmentation, customer portfolio, customer demographics, customer transaction, these kinds of things. So I might be interested in more detail, and customer sounds like it's interesting. It's a table containing customer data as part of Snowflake. So I might say, tell me more about customer. And I can go and pick the asset I'm looking for. And it's going to come along and it's going to give me information about that particular table, providing more information about customer. I could have picked any of these tables. Now, this is in lieu of, again, going into a tool and looking at that customer table itself and seeing what columns I've got, maybe writing SQL to understand the columns, understand what sort of information is in there, the data types, precisions, et cetera. This just comes back and it says, well, here's our customer table. And it is, I'll scroll back up. Here's the key attributes: customer ID and first name and address and phone. And here's the glossary terms associated with it. Any classifications? Well, there's PII data in there, as we would expect for a customer table. Here's our data quality. It's 100% valid, 100% complete. Stakeholders, additional information, who modified it, created it. And then a nice visual down here of our data quality scores. Again, validity and completeness are the only data quality we ran against this customer table. Now, I might want more information on this table, so I can say things like, tell me any glossaries associated. I don't have to go and tell it exactly which table I'm asking about. So I don't have to say, tell me any glossaries associated with customer. We're already in the context of asking about customer. So I know that, that it's assuming that we're asking about which glossaries are associated with the table of interest. So it comes back and it says, yes, there's glossaries associated with it. Again, this automated connection between the business and the technical side. So we've got party ID and we've got customer, part of the party data domain. So we can get glossaries associated with our technical metadata and kind of spanning the data estate here. I might want to get more information about data profiling. Show me the profile. And I can just ask in English. So we saw a little bit of profile results above when I asked about the table, but I probably want to get more information on my data profile. Give me just kind of one layer deep in terms of what we've already seen, and give me more profile specifics about our customer table. So I ask just in natural English, and it comes back and it says, the analysis provides insights into customer, and here's our profile, our customer ID, first name, address, phone, and it's telling me the data types. It's giving me a high level analysis. So state, fixed length string, nearly all values are duplicates with no nulls or blanks. That would be my expectation. If I'm looking at the state, I would expect a lot of duplicates in there. Now, if I wanted to, I can dig down into more details for each of these. I think you get the idea. So we'll do something a little more fun. Show me the lineage. I might want to say, well, what's the lineage of my, oops, I misspelled it. What's the lineage of my table here? Now it caught my typo, which is good. So what's the data lineage? Again, I mentioned earlier how we can trace data as it flows through the enterprise. So what I'd like to do is have it generate a nice graphic here. And it's exactly what it does. It says, well, here's my input, here's my output. I can zoom in and I can start seeing how all these things are connected. So the data went through Snowflake, it went through Informatica, went to Snowflake again, it went downstream somewhere. I can interact with this and say, expand 5 hops. It ended up in a report called the customer segmentation report. All right, so I can start kind of getting an idea of where the data went and the lineage behind that data. So then I might just drive down and say, show me a data preview. Right, so we started first with this talking about asking questions about metadata. Tell me about the table, tell me about the profiling of this table, general information about it. Now we can get into more specifics. We might want to ask about the data specifically. So I can do that as well. And I'll mention that behind the scenes, we are leveraging connectivity with all security enforced. So if I don't have the ability to get into this table and get a data preview of the data inside the table, this query or this prompt won't come back and give me this information. I do have that. You can see privacy guidelines prevent us from storing sample data. So we take privacy and security very, very seriously, and we respect all the privacy behind the scenes. Now, one of the things that I've done here is I think you've probably seen enough of me making typos. So I've got some of these pre-canned here where I can just kind of copy and paste. So I might ask, how many customers do we have? Again, getting into the data a little bit. So it's doing an aggregate, finding the number of customers that we've got in this particular data set. Now we saw a little bit of preview of this when we did our data profile, which might be another way of getting number of customers. But here I can just ask via natural language. So it goes into our customer table. Again, we didn't have to tell it which table to look into. It knows about the customer table. We have 1,069. I can then ask another question, and I can say, for example, can we break that down by state? Right. So I didn't say, can you break down customers by state? It's using the context it's already got about our conversation. So breaking down the number of customers by state using the customer table that we've already been interacting and working with. And I'll show you one more after this, kind of the big finish for this idea of Clara GPT, and then we'll get into the next side of the discussion. Again, this has been AI for data management. What is Informatica doing from an AI perspective to improve our data management outcomes? And I'm just showing you Clara GPT. I haven't shown you any of the details of Clara yet. But our query comes back and it talks about number of customers per state, and we can go in and we can show the code if we wanted to see how this is actually generated. So the code behind the scenes. Okay, so I previewed here. We're gonna have a big finish. I will say this one. Please, let's give a little more of an advanced query. Again, it's not super complicated, but please show customers that live in California, New York, or Florida, number of orders, average order amount, number of products purchased with revenue generated in each product category. Now, if you look at that query, we are talking about different tables, right? Spanning different data sources. So the customer data source we've already been talking to. There must be an order table in here somewhere because we're asking for number of orders and average order amount. And there must be a products table or some sort of product data source in here as well because we're asking about products purchased. So here it comes back and it talks about with an answer to our query, the number of the customers in California, Florida, or New York. Now, I might say, show me. Actually, I got it. I got my shortcut here, so I will make sure I don't type it wrong. Create a mapping for me. So a mapping is just an Informatica. It's just an Informatica data management process or data integration process that takes data from a source or multiple sources and populates a target and performs transformations in between or data manipulations in between. And the traditional way to do this, to build these mappings, is to do so by hand, right? And so we go and we create what you see on the screen here by hand. But now we just said, we asked a question of the data and we said, can you automatically build this for me? So sure enough, it comes along and it says, well, we've got a product table over here. We've got a customer table here, and we've got an order table over here. We're joining these together. Now we're filtering things out because, again, we wanted to make sure it was certain states. We're aggregating, we're sorting. So all of this that it's doing, it's built behind the scenes on its own. So using Informatica Claire AI to go and build the integration mapping by itself. Again, automation, intelligence, productivity. Let's jump back briefly into our presentation. And now we're going to go on the other side of the coin. So AI makes better data management. We just covered that. Now, better data management improves AI. How do we do that? Well, I like to kind of introduce the point of view with this slide. This guy's named Dan Meyer. He's a math teacher. He's more than just a math teacher. He's a PhD in math education, et cetera. And he's got a lot of good quotes and TED Talks and things. One of the quotes that I like is on the left. And if you think back to when we're all in math class, we're given a problem. That problem has everything that we need to solve the problem contained in the math question itself. And we're asked to focus on the solving, right? And so the problem in AI is that that's never the case. It's a very similar problem, but it's never the case where we're given all the information we need to know in advance, and we need to go focus on the solving, right? Typically what happens is the solving part's pretty easy, right? Especially nowadays, there's with things like our cloud ecosystems and Python packages and things, solving and doing the modeling is actually fairly simple. But we're normally given not enough information. We need to go find information, or we're given too much. We need to filter it out to get to the good stuff to answer the question. So we're flipping this whole thing on its head, right? Let's not focus on the solving. Let's focus on the data itself. And we've bucketed data from a high perspective or high altitude into three different categories in terms of AI ready data. Relevant data, responsible data, and robust data. So relevant focuses on the data should be correct, right? We want to make sure that we're surfacing data up for AI purposes. That data should better be accurate and correct. Responsible data, making sure that we're training our models with bias-free data as much as possible, and with an eye towards ethics to make sure that our models aren't going to hallucinate in a way we don't expect. And then robust data. Are we taking all the relevant data to answer our question into account to do a good job of bringing back the information we want? So look at all the different data sources, and that's not necessarily an easy thing. There might be mainframes and databases and unstructured data and streaming sources. So relevant, responsible, and robust data fuels AI. Now, I mentioned a second ago with Dan Meyer, this focus of people wanting to jump into the modeling. And this slide kind of talks through that, right? The temptation in AI is to say, we want to go and dive into the middle, the modeling part. That's the part that's kind of the most fun. And that's the part where if we do a good job with our predictions, we get the most accolades. But what happens is this very much falls into the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the effort is not the model. The modeling is really only about 20% of it. 60% is EDA, or exploratory data analysis, finding the data, understanding it, cleaning it, procuring it, doing feature engineering, feature selection. 20% on the other side is the operationalization. So we do a better job with our modeling. More people use our models, and because more people use the models, we need to put more focus on governance and deployment, wrapping a consumption mechanism around our AI models, right? So the majority of the work isn't modeling itself. The majority of it's actually getting the data ready for the modeling, then operationalizing those models. Now, let's talk quickly about this idea of a RAG application, right? Retrieval augmented generation. This is the chatbots that we want to go and put on top of our we're going to put chatbots on top of our authoritative data. So this what we're seeing on screen, it kind of represents this workflow or this question, where we might ask a question like, how can we improve customer satisfaction? And we go and we ask our favorite chatbot, ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot or whatever it might be. And it comes back with a generic response like you see on the top. Well, consider gathering feedback from customers and addressing common complaints, right? Generic, not that helpful. But what if we did this? What if we said, okay, I'm going to ask the same question, but now I'm going to open up that chatbot into the world of authoritative and proprietary data, our MDM data, our CRM data, data sitting in our warehouse and lake and structured and unstructured data. And I ask the same question, I get much more of a specific response. So in this case, it might say, look at recent feedback, quality control reports, usage patterns. Analytics show customers frequently mention delayed responses, right? A much more specific and accurate answer based on the fact we now have this authoritative information we're surfacing up to the chatbots. And there's two areas where we focus here. Number one is making sure that data is as authoritative and as accurate as possible, right? So all the normal data management practices apply here to AI. MDM data is generally the most highly curated, highest quality data in the organization. So the most eyes are on it. So we surface that up to these chatbots. CRM data and all the other data within the data estate, making sure that is as high quality and as authoritative as possible, such that we can go and bring that to our chatbots. Now, the second piece of it is here, all of this kind of technical stuff that happens today. Most of it today is built with Python, right? Between the prompt and the response, there's a lot of Python coding that happens, creating embeddings and putting them in vector databases and doing chunking and things like that. So how can we help automate that process and reduce this technical friction? Those are the two areas that Informatica focuses on in these Gen AI applications as well. So we can go and take a look at what this looks like as well. And I've got another quick demonstration I'll show you here. Okay, so now we are looking at a little chatbot application we wrote, and the premise is we're a retailer, right? And we sell some products. We've got three different personas working here, right? Prisha, our e-commerce manager, June, our supply chain manager, and Chase, our data analyst. And Prisha might ask a question like, again, I'm going to autofill this because you don't want to see me make typos. You've already seen that enough. Prisha might ask a question like, do we sell programmable coffee makers? Now, the key thing I'll point out is this little toggle right here. I will turn this on now. And now this says include Informatica 360 contextual data. I just ran this query with that turned off. And it comes back and it says, I don't know what you sell. I'm just a chatbot. But if I turn that on and ask the same question, what this is doing is this is that slide that we just saw a second ago. This is now giving the chatbot access into our authoritative and proprietary information and data, and it's going to be able to respond much more accurately. Do we sell programmable coffee makers? If so, please list them. Yes, we store carry several. Here they are. I can ask additional questions if I'd like. Prisha might want to say, how much is this particular, wrong one. She might want to say, how much is this particular programmable coffee maker? And it'll come back, and because it knows it's got access into maybe our product master data management, it knows the price is $45.22. And this is what I mean by when I say the relevant data. That number 45.22 better be right? The robust data, talking about going in across products, across pricing mechanisms and different systems that would contain this sort of information. And then the responsible data. Prisha might want to say, okay, so tell me about the supplier name of this particular coffee maker. Now, Prisha she's not our supply chain manager, she's our e-commerce manager, so maybe she's not allowed to see supplier information. So she asks the question, and we want to make sure that the response comes back and it says, well, you're not allowed to see that. Based on provided context, I can't summarize that. But if we're June, our supply chain manager, she may come along and ask the exact same question. And June is authorized to see this information. So she says, what's the supplier name of the AromaStar 8-cup coffee maker? And now, because we're respecting, again, this idea of responsible data, it comes back and it says the supplier name is Madison's. So that's just a brief window into what these sorts of things look like. I want to thank you and take any questions, and a few have come in while we've been sitting here. So the first question is, we look ahead, how do you envision the future of Gen AI development? What foundational changes do you think we should start addressing now to be prepared? Really big question and a good question. So personally, I think that there are 2025, there are going to be two major kind of impacts. The first is this idea of agentic AI, where today what we're doing is this idea of RAG applications. We're surfacing up the authoritative data. Agentic AI means we're going to create these AI agents that are each tasked with doing one small thing. So the example I like to use is kind of think of asking your phone to schedule a meeting. It's easy enough to say, schedule a meeting for me on Tuesday at 10:30. What if with a coworker of mine named Bob, what if I said, schedule a meeting for Bob and I to talk next Tuesday? That's a completely different thing. So I need an AI agent to be able to go into my calendar, understand what time zone I'm in, another AI agent to go into Bob's calendar, understand what time zone he's in, and then figure out where the gaps are and schedule a meeting. So each of those agents has its own individual task it wants to perform, and it's then going to be able to go and kind of pin these things together. So the AI agents are going to be doing individual tasks, and then they're going to figure out the planner how to go and perform some tasks that we want. So AI agent's going to be a big one. The next big one, I believe, is going to be the impending and forthcoming AI regulations. We've seen Europe put in force the EU AI Act, and it's already having a massive impact in Europe. The US is doing something similar at a statewide level. Colorado is first, California will probably be second, but eventually we're going to have 50 different versions of AI regulations in the US. Multiple countries are doing the same thing. Brazil, India, Japan, Singapore, Canada, across the globe, people are looking at implementing AI protections because we want to make sure the AI is being used responsibly. So I think those are kind of the two big ones that we're going to be coming up out here over the next year. And with that, we're at the end of our time. So again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining this EcoCast. Hopefully this has been helpful and useful and gives you a little insight into how Informatica sees the AI space, providing AI for data management, which improves our data management practices. And then those improved data management practices improve our AI outcomes. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thanks for tackling a question or two there. And for those of you in the audience who did ask some questions, but we didn't quite get to them, do not worry. Peter and the team from Informatica will also have those, and they'll be able to follow up either on text chat here now or after today's webinar. Make sure you get all the information that you're looking for. And speaking of additional information, if you are looking for some additional info about the Informatica solution, data sheets, white papers, case studies, pricing, details, demos, etc., there is a poll up right now, and you can basically request exactly what you're looking for. So think of this as your wish list, your easy button. It's a way for you to get what you're looking for when you need it. Now, this is also a good time to remind you about the handouts tab in the webinar console. In there, you will find a download link for their ebook. This is AI Playbook for IT Leaders, which might just be you. And this covers 4 strategic moves to drive AI innovation, data, and application integration as critical success factors. So this will be a perfect way to follow up on the convo we just had with the Informatica team and Peter, and it's definitely worth a read. I was already flipping through it, so definitely go check that out. And with that, I'm going to leave this poll up for just one more second, but we are going to be giving away our first prize here, which is the $300 Amazon gift card. And again, you must be present and live here at the webinar to win. So without further ado, we'll drum roll on your desks, on your laptops. The first gift card is going out to Frederick Swain from Pennsylvania. Huge congrats, Frederick, and we will be reaching out after today's EcoCast to let you know how you can claim that prize. Alrighty, well with that, let's keep the good times rolling here. Next up on the docket is Couchbase. We have got the incredible speaker, Tyler Mitchell, who is the Senior Product Marketing Manager over at Couchbase. This is my first time welcoming this speaker to an EcoCast, so I'm very excited to hear about this. And with that, I am going to have Tyler speaking a little bit about how AI coexists kind of with the cloud. So this will be an interesting one. All right, Tyler, take it away.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for coming out today to hear the webinar's sessions. This session from Couchbase is called Future Ready, Database Strategies for AI Innovation. We've worked through a lot of the many issues that enterprises are dealing with or going to have to deal with as we move forward in adopting AI innovation. Before we get started, I want to take a minute to talk about why we focus so much on the cloud. Cloud database requirements and cloud applications and services and security and all of these other related issues are not going away anytime soon. So more companies are moving to cloud and are investing in cloud and focusing on using it as it's one of the fastest ways to get access to the resources that they need in the timeliness they need, and at the right price point. This is quite an old survey, actually, from 2021, and you can see even back then the move towards artificial intelligence enabled analytics in the cloud was already top of mind for many companies, along with the common cloud related focus areas such as security and applications, performance, and just generally, improving their technology environment. So when we talk about cloud, we see it as a absolutely central component to AI solutions going forward, because that's where companies are invested today. So they're carrying forward that investment into the future for sure. Couchbase delivers a database as a service through the cloud, but we also have a on-prem server-based clustering environment. But we'll come back to that in a little bit. But I don't want to just talk about our product. I want to just show the general landscape of cloud strategies, as well as the technology gaps and challenges that all enterprises are dealing with. So if you're working on a project for just you, it might be a really simple project, but when you need to roll it out across your enterprise, or across your customer base, or as an offering in the cloud to others, there are several key components that you will require, and many of these are met by cloud database offerings, including having a fully managed technology stack in the back end, as well as maintaining high availability anywhere in the world, and having the ability to scale up applications as more users come online. These are all essential components to cloud database technologies and really cloud infrastructure in general. But we'll just focus on databases because that's our area of expertise. So I wager that anytime you remove even one or two of these items from this list, you set yourself up for a vulnerability. So consider that when you're making your solution decisions, that you have these components considered, because they will come up eventually. And we'll come back to many of these items in this talk. So I like to say that the architectural challenges that we're dealing with by introducing AI into the enterprise or into your software applications or into any of your solutions is an exponential challenge. The higher complexity that also yields higher creativity and more opportunities for solutions is also making things much more challenging to manage. And you need to find ways to consolidate that technology stack so you don't get have an overreach problem going forward. So let's talk for a sec about data sprawl, and this is exactly what I'm referring to. The typical, let's say, enterprise application that requires access to databases, documents, searching capabilities, and mobile applications requires a certain level of infrastructure at the bottom here, which we'll touch more on. And then in the middle, there's a certain set of kind of common services that are needed by most applications, whether it's just caching information, querying it, or searching it, etc. This is without any AI added into the mix, by the way. This is just current enterprise data view, I guess. You think about all of these different kinds of requirements that different applications and services need, and we've drawn a bunch of lines up there showing, okay, one application might need these 3 items, one might need these 4 items, and you start to get a kind of cross-tabulation of complexity that's involved. And you add in mobile or edge-based apps, which is kind of, I would say that was like yesterday's AI, in that the complexity it adds to the infrastructure is exponential. And it just makes it even harder. So we have extreme complexity when you start to add in multiple services, and you add in mobile and edge. And obviously when you add in AI, it's going to get even more complicated. Spoiler alert. So let's talk about putting some kind of faces to these names. So here's some of the common use cases, or I should say some of the common applications and services people use to power these different kinds of technologies. And Couchbase has a more of a comprehensive, cohesive framework, which we'll touch on in a second. But consider the different challenges with latency between these applications, because latency in an AI-powered application becomes a killer, either in a negative sense. It becomes a real barrier to your end user and customer use of AI applications. If your relational database can't talk to your analytics database, can't talk to your mobile application layer efficiently, then your AI application will fail. And we'll talk about that, why that is, in a minute too. But each of these services has different data models and programming interfaces, so you have to become an expert in developing for all of them and for each of them individually. And quite often you need different training for different kinds of developers. Operations needs training, and you need to build APIs and connectors for each of these. And then you've got security vulnerabilities across many, many vendors, many platforms, and many services. In the end, you can see on the bottom right here, by having a kind of a disparate stack that is super modular like this, increases costs, increases operational challenges, training requirements, and more. So when now is the time to consolidate your technology stack, at least get down to as few components as you can, because when you add AI to the mix, it's going to get even more complicated. So then add in one other kind of exponential growth challenge is you need application servers running in multiple locations. So this is just a general overview of how our cloud service provides region support at 70 plus regions around the world. So this is even more of a challenge when you start to talk about geographically distributed applications. If you go back to these items, which some of these items can't even be geographically distributed, some of these can't be distributed at all, and some of them can't be run as a clustered environment where you can spin up more nodes, etc. So this makes it even more complex. And the requirements are, going forward, continue to be low latency requirements everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are. If you have a data center in one location, it needs to be able to service application users in another location just as rapidly and just as low latency as possible. And you mix in the mobile synchronization side of things, so your mobile applications need to have access to the latest database information and need to be able to synchronize information to and from the database, as well as to and from other peers, for example. So these are the challenges going forward for all AI applications. They need this kind of framework. So this is our overview diagram of our offering. Just starting from the bottom, you can see we support either a cloud-based, fully managed option or a customer-managed option in the cloud or on-prem and across IoT devices or on the edge. And then we build on top of that a security layer that makes it secure enough to run as an enterprise application in the cloud, for example. And then we have a set of what we call our performance foundation. And these are the components that if you remove any of these items, you will really suffer. So you don't have to necessarily buy our product, but if the products you're using do not support this kind of a performance foundation, you're going to eventually hit a barrier that you didn't anticipate. Do you have caching and active-active clustering? Do you have a tunable workload management system so that you can scale up certain services as needed and not just all of them? If you don't have that foundation, then the performance of the services on the top layer here, the data access services row, then those will be limited in what they can provide to the end user application as well. So we provide a single database that when your data goes into it, you have access to it through multiple data access services. You could access the JSON documents directly. You can do a key value access search. You can do a SQL-based query, full text search, etc., all from a single common core database. And then on the very, very top, we have our applications, microservices that we create that you create for your end user applications. And then you have your mobile and edge apps. And because we have a cohesive framework for all of this, it makes it very small, very compact, and a single application to manage or have managed for you. When we're talking about building for AI applications, a lot of the examples we're talking about, or that we see people talking about, are really one-off projects. They're prototypes and tests and examples where they haven't necessarily considered the enterprise component to it whatsoever. So when you're looking at products and tools to use for building AI applications, I encourage you to really think of it from an enterprise standpoint. And here's what the enterprise end users ultimately want and need is to really transform your applications. They need to have these kinds of attributes. We need to have mobile interaction. It has to be high response rate or low latency. High latency is unacceptable, really. And it should really understand the context of the questions you're asking, the data you're requesting, etc. So it has to understand context and be highly personalized for the person that's using the application. And of course, the innovation side of it is what we're always hoping for as an end result. Some use cases that we've all seen at some point, and maybe some you haven't seen, but we've all seen the AI-powered chatbots. I won't go into that. But using generative AI and vector search, you can also do things like content generation, creating information from kind of a raw set of small atomic bits, or pulling together information from across data sources into summaries and conclusions. But also there's a concept called advanced semantic or hybrid search, where we can do searches for text, image, audio, other database types of fields, text, numbers, etc., and pull them together to get a result that we didn't have the ability to do before, at least not efficiently. And then we can get into more complex data analysis, classification, and predictive analytics using AI. Those are just a handful of use cases. But the main challenges and sensitivities continue on for an enterprise application for AI is no different than enterprise applications using databases or programming languages hitting cloud services. We need to know that you're not sharing sensitive data, and there are ways with vector search using the RAG techniques to solve for some of those sensitive data challenges. You want to be able to query data in your database, but you don't want to have to send your database information to, say, a public AI engine. And then also, we need to keep things real. The hallucination capabilities of vector searching or of generative AI in general can be a problem. So you need what we call a multi-purpose platform that can help deal with that sensitivity of data and also the accuracy of the data. So here's one of the ways that we summarize some of the architectural challenges that need to be addressed. So for example, we need a common language and format for communicating between applications, and developing AI prompts is one of these ones that requires like a JSON format ultimately in the back end is ideal. And then we also have to have co-located data that can be both used for operational purposes, so like a transactional database that manages your purchases and financial transactions, but also analytical data so you can roll up and find the trends and actually locate the best use of ad targeting, for example. And really when we start to talk about the complexity and latency of our data sets, that will be the limiting factor for what you can do with your AI in the future. You need to be able to not just query data, but also be able to do vector searching, as well as apply more complex analysis. And then, of course, AI must be consumed and created at the edge. If you don't have that integration, that synchronization layer, you're going to be limited. So to sum it all up, the line at the bottom, AI-based applications need a scalable, distributed, high-performance, multi-model data platform. Right now, we're kind of going through I should say the market and the enterprises are going through the evaluation of how to add AI to their technology, to how to enhance existing applications. But we're moving towards this idea of creating net new applications. And some of those applications we haven't even thought of yet. And you're going to be some of the people that get to invent some of those. It's very new. It's all very new to a majority of IT and developers. So that means there's going to be challenges until that kind of settles down, and IT and developers and product designers, etc., all kind of hit the ground running. Hybrid search is a interesting concept that we want to make sure that you understand, because you need this from your platform as well. We really want the ability to pull in the best of breed from all types of data access patterns. So in this case, we could do a semantic or a vector search saying we want to match a certain color or a style of an object. That could be from a photograph, for example. Say I want my shoes to match my car, or my shirt to match my shoes, etc. But it's not just a vector or semantic related question. We can do fuzzy text searching. We can do range searching based on costs, for example, and ratings. We could look for information within a certain geographic context, etc. So when we talk about AI applications, we're not usually just talking about the AI component. It's essential that it's also combined with traditional technology in your database system. I won't go through this in detail, but I included it in the slides so you can go back and read through it. This is a typical way of you developing a RAG application, allowing you to kind of encode your information and index your information in a way that vector searching can access efficiently without sharing your data back to any kind of online model or LLM. But basically allows you to search, get a general match, and then get the information from your own database, and then kind of summarize the information and knowledge back into a usable, consumable piece of information that's an answer to your customer or user. So really there's AI integration at every level in the application stacks that we've been designing. You see we had mobile and we had applications and microservices before, but we need to also add this top layer of AI model execution and communication. You'll see more and more enterprise solutions coming out from us as we develop more model execution and communication concepts. But each one of these items and services touches AI somewhere, somehow in the future, if not now already. So from our columnar analytics side, when you're doing analytics in database, you already should be using machine learning to create user-defined functions, for example. Or when we're doing SQL querying, well, we have a tool called IQ that does generative AI, allows you to write SQL queries and it understands your database already. We have a bunch of mobile integration examples as well. So there's basically the idea that at every layer, AI will be integrated in every one of our services, and as well as every other application that people are creating. And just to summarize that in more of a consumable view of things, you'll have real-time applications, the chatbots, product searching, content generation, those use cases we talked about. But consider that you also have the mobile side of it as well. Not just web apps, not just desktop apps, but also field service apps that need to also integrate with your AI capabilities. So that's why your AI capabilities need to be a core part of your central system. In this case, our Couchbase server or our Couchbase Capella cloud offering provides those core functions and core AI capabilities so that you can build your apps on top and not have to worry about managing all of those things as separate individual components. So this is our platform. All of this is baked in. We could summarize all this with one little icon, say it's Couchbase Capella, and start building your applications with one SDK. Start building your applications with mobile integration and sync built in from day one, as well as scalability and security, etc. So check it out. We have a free tier you can use, and it's not just a free trial, but you sign up and use it and keep on using it forever. Give it a try, and there's the QR code for it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hopefully you guys are definitely going to check out that QR, give it a sense of what you guys might want to do with a free trial. And I love that there's kind of a coupon forever. So thanks so much. I've got a poll up here for everybody again. What additional information would you like about the Couchbase solution? So again, if you are looking to follow up, learn a bit more, get a little bit better sense of what's going on over at Couchbase and what their solution can provide for you, this is the easiest way to do that. So again, data sheets, white papers, case studies, etc. Pick on the menu and we'll make sure that you get that after today's event. Alrighty. Next thing you want to check out again is the handouts tab there. If you want to learn more right away, you can go there and download a white paper, the Why No SQL Databases for AI Powered Apps ? It's an architectural guide why successful projects rely on no SQL database applications. So you don't want to sleep on this. And I'm going to leave that up while we give away our next prize. So we've got our second of three $300 Amazon gift cards here to give away. Again, you do need to be present and live to win. So let's hope our lucky winners indeed here and listening and going to get really excited right now. And the second gift card is going out to Russell Aarons from New Jersey. Russell, huge congrats. And we are going to be reaching out after today's webinar to let you know how you can claim that prize as well. Okay, it's been a bit of a fast, furious, short and sweet. I don't know what other cliche thing I could throw in there, but it's been great webinar so far. And we have got just one more speaker, one more team here on the EcoCast lineup. And it is our friends at Rubrik who are excited to welcome back for today to discuss their Ruby AI. And the representative or the speaker is Alpika Singh. She's the technical marketing architect over at Rubrik. I've had the pleasure of listening to her before, and I'm excited. Not only are we going to hear a little bit about Ruby AI, but also get a demo of it as well. So you're going to check this out. And definitely, I'm pretty excited about it. So I hope you guys also find it quite interesting. Alpika, why don't you take it away? Thanks.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Alpika Singh, and I'm a technical marketing architect at Rubrik. I've been with Rubrik for over 2 years, and today I'm very excited to discuss Ruby, which is the latest and newest addition to our Rubrik's portfolio, which will serve as an innovative and generative AI companion to ensure data security for our customers. And during the next 30 minutes, I will discuss why there is a need for this generative AI companion for data security, how Ruby helps you solve the problem, and then, of course, how Ruby works. Finally, you'll be able to see Ruby live in action. So without any delay, let's jump right in. Before we get started, please review Rubrik's safe harbor policy. Just spend 30 seconds to review it. I'll just pause here for 30 seconds. Okay, that's good enough time. Moving on to exactly why we are here. The landscape of destructive cyber attacks, such as ransomware, it varies significantly across different environments and industries. Now, due to the unique nature of each attack, the recovery process is very time-consuming and very specific to incident at hand. Now, as we all know, there aren't endless budgets, and not even in the security world, and you cannot hire your way out of the problem. Because of which, the technical expertise to recover from such an attack is very limited. This in turn leaves many, if not most organizations, unprepared to respond effectively and swiftly to cyber attacks to restore normal operations. Now, this challenge also extends to the development and adaptation of recovery plans. If you want to adapt your recovery plans based on new intel and threats, that also requires a lot of expertise. Someone who's constantly watching, watching the threat feed, who knows what they're doing, and essentially pick the right threats to look for or watch out for. Now, this is again time-consuming process, and you don't have enough personnel or time to do that. So there's always a delay in adaptation to new threats and intels. Also, when we take a look at our backup admins, right? So they often lack the right resources in terms of the right tools or even time and the bandwidth to find a clean backup to recover from. That is, the backup copy, it has to be free from all the malware to ensure that your organization, in case of recovery, they don't recover from an infected snapshot and then in turn reinfect the environment post-recovery. So absolute necessity is to find a clean backup copy to recover from. Now, customers echo these sentiments daily to our teams. Now, whether they are seeking assistance in responding to a cyber attack or enhancing their overall preparedness. Now, we also analyzed and looked at some statistics across various industries, and we found most organizations agree that there's an acute shortage of personnel with cybersecurity expertise and skills. Now, if you take a look at the study from Enterprise Strategy Group, 71% of the organizations have told us that they have cybersecurity skills shortage. Now, nearly all of these organizations also stated that the skills shortage and the impact have not improved over the past few years. So, even if they want to hire, there's still shortage. And as and when the new workforce is coming into play, it's really not helping them too much. And now that's a sharp increase from 57% in the same study that was performed last year. So now, instead of 57% of the organization which said they had issues with skill sets and personnel, now 71% of the people or organization agree to that fact. So we also gathered some intel from our very own rubric response team, and they concluded that 60% of the attacks occur at the hypervisor level, which is rendering most recovery plans and tooling obsolete. Now, another interesting statistics that we came across is based on the data from Statista. Sorry, it's a tongue twister. It always gets me. That it takes an organization 22 days on average to recover from a ransomware attack and bring their businesses back into operation. Now, just imagine the loss in revenue and their reputation, right? Now we are talking about all these percentage, all these numbers, like what does this actually mean? Why are we talking about it? So what I want to highlight here is that cyber attacks are complex, and it's only getting more and more complex. So the skill set required to recover from these attacks also, it's also increasing, right? So you need to find more and more skilled people in your organization to recover from these attacks. Now, the other part is that we cannot keep hiring, and that even if we keep hiring, we are not out of it. We will not get out of this situation, right? So hiring will not let you get out of this problem. Now that was the bad part, right? Bad news. Now, what the good news is that specifically with the use of generative AI, you can have a tool at your fingertips to augment this skill set shortage. Now, the idea behind this is to assist the human operator with specific insights and recommendations right at the moment when it's really needed the most. So this is where we bring in Ruby. And Rubric recently introduced Ruby, which is your AI-powered data security companion that is designed to empower our customers to perform the most complex tasks quickly. Ruby's initial skill set focus is on guiding and assisting our customers through the recovery process after a cyber attack. Ruby's initial capabilities are driven by Rubric's strong commitment to enhance our customer cyber resilience. Another key aspect of robust cyber resilience is recovering quickly from cyber attacks, thus preventing all the adversaries from holding your business hostage. So Rubrik is here to assist you in achieving that. It operates seamlessly within Rubrik Security Cloud. So if you are an existing customer of Rubrik, you have access to Rubrik Security Cloud, and you can now get access to Ruby and start playing around with it and start working with it, which will guide you through specific workflows, offering you the essential context that you need at your fingertips. Now, Ruby also doesn't assume any cyber expertise on the part of its users. So it provides detailed and prescriptive guidance to help you recover from the attack. Ruby is actually built on Microsoft's Azure OpenAI, and it's trained on Rubrik's knowledge and expertise. So it does not require any additional training and operates without using any customer data. It is very important to note, and it's like most of our customers, they really don't want their data to leave their environment, which is what Ruby is doing. So it does not take any of your data, and it doesn't move it to anywhere else, any other Rubrik cloud, or any other cloud, or any other workload, right? So your data stays in your environment. It's never shared, and it's not used for any sort of training. So net, what we are unveiling today is just the beginning, and it's Ruby is set to evolve with additional skills over time to fortify your cyber resilience. So, you can watch our website and stay tuned. As Ruby grows, we'll release more information, and we'll start doing more of these Rubrik-like events to showcase that. Let's see what's next. Okay, so far we've discussed why we need Ruby and what is Ruby. So now we need to discuss how it actually works. Now, Ruby is designed specifically to enhance the speed of cyber attacks detection, cyber recovery, and cyber resilience, right? Now, as I mentioned before, it's built on Microsoft Azure OpenAI and includes built-in cyber expertise, which is based on Rubrik's experiences and best practices, which we've collected while working with thousands of customers around the world. It also uses threat feeds identified by our very own Rubrik Zero Labs team. Additionally, Rubrik has developed interactive workflows based on its customers' experiences working with the ransomware response team when recovering from attack. So this is, just the lay of the land, what it's based on, right? So how does it know that there is something going on in your environment? So for that, it uses our data threat engine. And our data threat engine is very native to Rubrik Security Cloud, and it's built on top of the time series, backup data, and metadata. Rubrik Threat Monitoring, which we released past summer, actually uses this time series of data and metadata to proactively look for indicators of compromise based on Rubrik's threat intelligence feed. Now, as soon as the threat monitoring application identifies an indicator of compromise, such as a specific piece of malware in a snapshot, Ruby kicks into action. Then Ruby collates all the key details, such as what malware or what indicators of compromise is present, where it's present, essentially list of all impacted servers, and when this indicator of compromise was first detected. Once it collects all this information, it actually notifies you of the threat, and it will guide you step by step through through an integrated and interactive chat interface. Ruby will help you learn more about the threat. It allows you to launch actions such as searching for additional indicators of compromise, searching for sensitive data in impacted objects, and it actually provides recommendations for quarantining the threat and then recovering from a snapshot without the infected data. So we talked a lot about Rubrik, right? So just a quick recap of the key features before we dive into the demo. First, Ruby enhances the incident investigation by automatically flagging malicious activity. Now, this becomes a proactive approach, ensuring that if any potential threats are present, they are promptly brought to your attention. So, you can start mitigating them faster. Secondly, it goes just beyond detection. So Ruby automates the recommended incident response tasks. It suggests and performs these tasks collaboratively with you directly in the Rubrik Security Cloud, streamlining the incident response process. And third, it plays a pivotal role in expediting cyber recovery by guiding you through the investigation and recovery workflows. It will facilitate a swift restoration of your environment, ensuring that your business is up and running quickly. And most importantly, all this is achieved while preserving all the forensic evidence, which is essential for your security team to review. So they can start formulating a plan to mitigate this risk faster as well. Next up is Ruby in action. So in this demo, I will actually launch an interactive chat with Ruby. We will together investigate an IOC flagged by Rubrik Security Cloud, triage the incident, and prepare for recovery with Ruby's help along the way. So let's get started on that. Okay, so I logged into my instance for Rubrik Security Cloud, and then I'm going to first head to the notification or inbox icon. When I click on it, you can see that there are some malicious files that are detected in some objects. Now, if we click at the banner, we will start the interactive chat with Ruby. Okay, so let's click on it. And then when we take a look at it, you can see that Rubrik has identified the threat and gathered additional information. Now let's click on See Details to see what these details are. So you can see the name of the file, where it's located, what the threat intel source is, what description is, which family it belongs to, all the hash values of this malware, and when was this first seen, which snapshot it was first seen in. Now, all this information is very handy, right? So when we start the investigation process, it will come in very handy. So now let's close this and see what Ruby is recommending next. So now, essentially, next steps is for Ruby to tell you more about this malware. So if we click on Tell me more about this malware, again, it generates all the information it has regarding this malware, right? So which family, how it spreads, and then also it will recommend what the next steps are. So currently it's recommending that you look for the presence of any additional indicators of compromise. Now, when we click on the prompt, it will ask us to authorize Ruby to start the process. So I'm going to click on yes, and boom, there you go. So Ruby actually found another malicious file on the same object. And it has details of the first snapshot where it was detected. And it's also giving us the information that the file is still present in the latest snapshot. Next up is trying to find if there's any sensitive data exposure because of these malware, right? So let's take a look at if there's any sensitive data on these objects. Once we click on it, it will go ahead and tell us that if there are any sensitive hits. And looks like there is, right? So there is data on this object that relates to HIPAA compliance, PCI, GDPR, GLBA. So now you're looking at a lot of sensitive data exposure, so for which you need to have a mitigation plan. So what do we do next? So that's exactly what Ruby does. So what are the recommended next steps? When we click on it, it's asking us to essentially quarantine the object first, essentially quarantining all the snapshots in which it has found the malware. And then it will recover the object from a snapshot which is free of any malware. So first off, we'll start quarantining all the malicious snapshot. We click on it. Again, we need to authorize Ruby to do that. When we click yes, it actually goes ahead and quarantines all the malicious snapshots from these objects, right? So next up would be to create a recovery plan and start the recovery process. Your data, essentially, it'll give you the snapshot from which it's going to restore. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to type recover now. So once I do that, let's click on scroll at the bottom. Ruby actually automatically created a recovery plan and it actually started the recovery process. Next, we just need to wait for Ruby to finish the recovery process and then it'll notify us when it's complete. So, essentially, I ran through this quickly. Of course, when you're doing this in a real-time environment, real-time scenario, this is a real environment, by the way, but, in a cyber attack situation, you're sitting with a team, you'll talk through this, you will run other tests, and then in the meantime, what we did was we actually shortened the duration it takes to actually recover your object to a snapshot which is free of malware and any indicators of compromise. So the speed at which you can move with Ruby is enormous, and it will help you with by creating these plans and then running the recovery process as well. Going back to my slides, just a quick summary. Okay, so now we've reached the end of the presentation. But before I let you go, just want to reiterate that Ruby is a comprehensive solution, that is going to help you identify and address all your cybersecurity threats, and it's going to streamline the entire incident response process, and it'll make your recovery journey way more smoother than before, so that you can recover your business and get up and running quickly. I hope your 30 minutes were well spent with us, and you have now some food for thought in exploring Ruby as an assistant in your cyber resiliency journey. Now, you can reach out to us by talking to your local sales rep or your sales engineers as well. You can test or get a demo of Ruby or any other Rubrik solution for that matter. If you or your team wants a deeper dive on Ruby, please contact us. We'll be delighted to talk to you. Thank you all, and see you at the next Rubrik Live event. We may have run out of time, but please send in your questions via chat or email, and we'll respond to you as soon as possible. So have a great day ahead. Thank you for watching this.
Awesome. Thank you, Alpika. Yeah, we did push up against time here, but honestly, I think it was time well spent. Everyone was probably very engaged, very excited. This Ruby AI is definitely very powerful, and it's been really neat to see a mix of different ways AI is looking at the data, from recovery to storage to cloud to analysis. We are getting a nice mix, a nice buffet of ways that we are able to then take our data and leverage it better due to AI solutions that are here. So if you are looking for a little bit more information about Rubrik, specifically about Ruby AI, again, we've got a poll up there. So if you want data sheets, white papers, case studies, pricing, details, demos, again, this is your way to get exactly what you're looking for the quickest that is possible. And of course, there's a link also in the handouts tab there. It's a full info page where you can learn more about Ruby AI. There's a video, there's a bit of a general overview, as well as a way to contact Rubrik for a trial. So if you do want to test drive it yourself and get a sense of that, I definitely suggest that. And if you haven't checked out the handouts tab yet at all, well, I suggest you do that now because we are going to wrap up shortly. It's definitely worth saving and tagging all those 3 handouts from our presenters so that you have them in your back pocket and can be reviewing those or share them with your colleagues, however you need to, as you make these decisions over the next 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, as we looked at the onset of today's EcoCast. Again, if you did ask any questions today that didn't get answered, well, you know what? It's just a matter of timing. We'll definitely be following up and making sure that you get all the information that you need. So thank you for being inquisitive. Thank you for being engaged. And as always, I think it's just great to be curious. So I appreciate that curiosity from all of you. And with that, why don't we give away our final prize here and wrap things up? Again, this is our third of 3 $300 Amazon gift cards. Final reminder, you do need to be present and live here to win. And let's give this one away. This last prize is going out to Brandon O'Million from Michigan. Brandon, huge congrats. And again, I'm just going to recap our 3 winners in case you did step out or something in the last little bit and you missed the exciting moment. So gift card number 1 went out to Frederick Swain from Pennsylvania. Gift card number 2 to Russell Aarons from New Jersey. And gift card number 3, Brandon Olmian from Michigan. As always, we will be in touch about claiming those prizes after the webinar, and you'll be able to get those quickly and easily once we've reached out. Now, if you are in the webinar today and you would like to consider presenting, sponsoring, or somehow getting involved with an upcoming webinar, EcoCast, MegaCast Summit, well, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. You can reach out at connect@actualtechmedia.com and start the conversation there. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank all of our speakers from Informatica, Couchbase, and Rubrik for making this EcoCast possible and for being here with us today, as well as our incredible keynote leading us off at the beginning, Joey D'Antoni. So great to have him back in the house. And of course, I want to give a thank you to all of you for attending, asking some great questions, and just taking some time out of your busy days to learn something new, to plan ahead, to strategize, to better position yourself in the market. And, I love talking about this topic, solutions and tools that use AI to get more from your existing data. Why not get more out of what you already have and let AI and ML do it for us. Love it, love it, love it. I hope you've all gotten some interesting ideas and tips, and maybe you're leaving feeling excited and ready to take some steps as you head back into your days and months after this. Now, if you did enjoy today's EcoCast, well, we've got a MegaCast, which is supercharging IT in 2025. This is next week, Wednesday, November 20th, 12 p.m. Eastern. And well, this is going to be a cool topic because we're going to be forecasting, look into, what can we do for next year? What's on the horizon? What ways can we take advantage of the tools at hand, the information at hand, the emerging technologies, and supercharge our IT for the year to come. So definitely mark your calendars for that. And I believe that is everything. So hope you had a great time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm wishing you all an absolutely magical rest of your days and hope to see you on another webcast soon. Take care, everybody.